Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott wave update for Solana. Now this is taken from last video. I had two counts I was 50-50 on, this being my second primary, looking for a matching wave here down to complete a wave 2. And here we are. We got that matching wave down. I'm going to talk about what that means and where I expect us to go from there. I just want to do a quick recap on the daily chart. My expectations from here. Now, first of all, since the low at $8, have this as a wave 1, 2, 3, 4th complete, looking for a 5th wave to the upside. Target of the 1-to-1 extension where wave 5 equals wave 1 is the length of wave 1 off of the wave 4 low, looking for $368.50. Nothing says we have to get that far. This is just guidelines. We expect at least wave equality between wave 1 and 5 as the most likely scenario. I wouldn't also be surprised to see a stop at the 2.618 up at around $303. Now, a couple things to keep in mind is the length of wave 4 is longer than the length of wave 2, which is one of the things we like to see. We have nice separation for our third wave in 5 waves. I also have our pitchfork. Where is that? Where did it go? Oh, here we go. Right here. All that is a channel taken from the beginning of wave 1 off of wave 2, extended off the top of wave 1, and we look for our 4th wave to hit the top end of that channel. You can see we came through that, rejected quickly, which is showing support for our 4th wave right in that ideal zone of just past the 1-to-1 and the top end of that channel. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as our next move is to the upside, our 4th wave is complete as a WXY. Let's go down to the smaller time frame. Talk about that correction. What that looks like is a ABC for our W. We had an ABC for our X wave, and this is a very short ABC to complete our Y wave. Now, if this fails, I would expect another move down for this Y wave, but as of right now, I think it's unlikely. I will show you how that can fail on the smaller time frames, but as far as I'm concerned, everything is complete. We are looking for the 1-to-1 where Y equals W. It came within like literally $2-3 of hitting that target and our channel. But if we do happen to fail, that would be the area I would look for, around the 107 or slightly lower. Now let's talk about the smaller time frame and how I expect us to move to the upside. So going off last video, seeing this as a wave 1 and 2 to the upside as such. I also discussed the last video my entry, and my entry currently is at the 1-to-1 extension. I actually got in at 135, just a front ran that a little bit. That's the 1-to-1 where this A equals C or Y equals W. It's a very tough wave count, so more relying on Fibonacci extensions. I got in at 135. My stop is just past the 66 retracement of the move to the upside at 125. So very tight risk reward. It is looking something like this currently. Whoa. I'm on a different exchange. It's looking something like this. So looking for 16-to-1-ish on this trade setup, if not more, if we get extended. Now, important to note, if this is our wave 1 and 2 low, I took the extensions of the beginning of wave 1 off the top of wave 1 off the low of wave 2, as it is potentially complete. It complete right between our golden zone, which is the 61.8% and the 66. And looking for this extension to the upside of the 1.618 extension of length of wave 1 off of wave 2, which is currently at 241.15 according to Binance. Now, important to note on this setup, my 1-to-1 extension on the larger term view is where wave 5 would equal wave 1, which is at that 368.50. But I also noted, let me just zoom out here, that we might stop at the 2.618 extension of wave 1 off of wave 2 of the larger degree. And the current expected extensions of the 1.618 and between the 200 and the 2.236 there line up with that 2.618 at 303. You can see we're right between that zone. So something I need to be very aware of once we start making this move. The only way I would expect us to hit this target of the 1-to-1 is if we get an extended third wave and we actually move to the 2.618 extension, which would hold this pitchfork a little better, get a move something like this, even potentially come to the outer boundary line here for our third wave. Because one thing of note is our modified shift doesn't really line up that well unless we get a slow moving wave here. But none of the pitchforks really work well unless we get an extension. So just something I'm keeping in mind as this wave pans out. But as of right now, the most safe targets in this is between 280 and 308. Okay, so where would I expect this to go from here? Either we start moving in this third wave, or we make a micro 1-2-1-2, and that second micro 1-2 would be between the 618 and the 100 extension of this wave 1 off of wave 2. So we'd look for a micro 5-wave move up here, nice little retest of the high, and then extend from there. So as of right now, the setup looks very nice. We just need to see some follow through. And if you haven't watched my Bitcoin video, I would suggest watching that. I uploaded that today because a lot of this following through relies on what Bitcoin does here. But let's discuss how this could possibly fail. Well, this can be counted as a 3 or a 5 wave. Very difficult count off the low. I mentioned this was a very fast Y wave. So what I would actually expect to happen is this is either an ABC, and this ends up being some sort of diagonal to the downside where we just grind down for a C wave. Or we could be in the middle of a B wave where this ends up failing. It moves up a little bit but ends up failing in a 3-wave move. And then we could get another 3-wave move. This all becomes an A, B, then we get a move up, and then we finally fall, A, B, C, something like this. That's where this initial push fails. This is what I would expect. And you'd keep an eye on the structure that you consider to be a 1-2-1-2 to the upside, and you'd look for the B wave break where it turns into an ABC. So you just got to keep an eye on the structures, how they're forming, make sure all your rules are being followed. I'm looking for 5-wave moves up. Now my stop is very close at 125. And if this happens to fail in this area, again, this is a very tough wave count right in this area. But if we happen to fail in this area, but we stay within our regular channel here and make another low, I would give this one more attempt myself, wait for a micro 5-wave move, buy the pullback, and then go. Because as you know, a wave 2, we are in that zone we want to be, right, rejected off the 618. But we can come as low as the 786 for this wave 2 and come even lower. So keeping an eye in this area in the ideal zone right now for this move to the upside. A swing trade way of taking this is you can even enter right now, not financial advice, do what you want. I'm just giving general guidelines. You can put the stop at the low if you don't want to be paying attention and targeting up in this area. It's still like a 6-to-1 trade setup. Very nice either way. But if this does fail, again, I expect a lot of overlap, a lot of choppy patterns, either in the middle of a B wave and a C wave up before we drop, or this is a 3-wave move, get some sort of diagonal forming out on the longer trend, although unlikely from this high, just because we came so close to invalidating that level there. So overall looks good. I'm happy with my trade setup, looking for this move to the upside in a third wave to either the standard area of 241 or an extension up to 358. All right, guys, so that is it for Solana. Let's see if we can get a push to the upside and get some trend reversal here. All right, guys, that's it for Solana. Check out the Bitcoin video if you like, and that's it for this one.